Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. If you're new here, my name is Danon. I've been watching anime since 1985, and I'm currently reading close to 600 manga or light novel series. As someone who has read a lot of manga and seen a lot of anime, as well as studied genre and story structure, I feel I have a pretty good grasp on which anime are worth your time, depending on your tastes. Which brings us to the subject of today's video, Godzilla Singular Point. Waffles sponsored this video through my Patreon. If you're interested in sponsoring a video, or if you just want to come hang out with us for our monthly manga club, feel free to check out patreon.com/Danon. Link down below. Now, before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Godzilla Singular Point is one of those anime that will anger a lot of anime purists. There is a ton of CGI in this series. I'm just letting you know as a heads up. CGI doesn't bother me. Bad writing, bad storytelling, and bad acting bother me. But subpar animation doesn't bother me as much as it does a lot of anime fans. That being said, though the animation isn't as great as it could be, the story, characters, and acting were all enjoyable. So what is this anime about other than Godzilla? First of all, this is a single core anime. There are only 13 episodes and it does come to a conclusion. Whether that's a satisfying conclusion is probably up to how much you enjoy kaiju films. I am not a kaiju fan. I don't hate kaiju films, but I don't go out of my way to watch them either. The anime begins in the year 2030 with an engineer, Yun Arakawa, investigating an old, abandoned Western-style mansion, and graduate student Mei Kamino investigating an old administrative building. Both of them are investigating a strange, hauntingly familiar song. It turns out that Arakawa works for a local do-it-all shop known as the Otaki Factory. When Kamino stumbles upon some instructions to call that same Otaki Factory, if an ancient alarm is ever triggered, it brings the two strangers together. As their investigation into the unknown, the strange, the unreal, eventually they come to realize that the sudden appearance of kaiju all over the world may have something to do with the insane ramblings of a mad scientist from 60 years ago by the name of Ashihara. There are, of course, tons of kaiju in this series. Other than Godzilla, you've got Rodan, Anguirus, and the defender of humanity, Jet Jaguar. But that's just the named kaiju. There were tons more that appeared in the series that weren't actually named, but were nods to previous kaiju films. Mothra, Gabara, Kumanga, and Manda. I won't spoil the post-credit scene at the end of episode 13, but just know that it exists and you should watch it. There was also a reference to Megura. They miniaturized him and had him serve as Pelotu's body. But it takes more than simply referencing other kaiju to be a proper homage to the genre. There are several ongoing themes that are important to the genre, and I'm not just talking about Godzilla's infamous theme song. Godzilla, and kaiju in general, have always been a response to the nuclear bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki back in 1945. As such, throughout the long history of kaiju films, Godzilla has been seen as a walking nuclear bomb, here to wipe out mankind and also an almost godlike entity, set by nature herself to repair the damage to the Earth. Environmental catastrophes are often tied into kaiju films. Sometimes the catastrophes are caused by the kaiju, sometimes they're the answer to the catastrophe, and one example even has a kaiju as the representation of pollution. Kaijus represent the restoration of balance, a very Taoist perspective. Something else pervasive in kaiju films are the young, hopeful main characters. There's often a romance subplot, or at least some sexual tension, between a young male and a young female character. Now, when I say young, I mean early to mid-20s. I'm in my 40s after all, so it's a matter of perspective. There are also often two older characters in these stories. There's the slightly deranged but good-hearted old man who supports the two lovebirds. Maybe not romantically, but he does support them throughout the story. On the flip side, you've got the evil CEO who winds up being destroyed by their own hubris. Evil is punished and good is rewarded. but evil and good both must exist in order to balance each other out. Next up, music is often a theme in kaiju films. One of the most famous songs is the one used by the Shobojan to summon Mothra. In Godzilla Singular Point, we don't ever actually get Mothra, just a representation, but the mysterious song that winds up being very important to the plot is hauntingly familiar to the song used to summon Mothra. Listen to the one from Godzilla Singular Point, and then compare it to the Mothra song. You'll see what I mean. We're never certain going into a new kaiju story what part evolution will play, but it is almost always brought up. Is Godzilla a throwback? Some kind of ancient creature asleep beneath the waves, woken by mankind discovering the secrets of the atom? Or is he something else entirely? For years, American B-grade horror films featured giant creatures mutated by radiation, and some of that was seen in kaiju films. Regardless, evolution is another theme often seen in kaiju movies. Finally, in all kaiju films, there's a sense of hope. Hope that Godzilla will prevail and defeat the other kaiju, or hope that Godzilla will be defeated. Either way, our human protagonists don't give in to despair. They worry, sure, but they are never without hope. There is an ongoing sense of it throughout all kaiju films, and that holds true in Godzilla Singular Point. Now, as I stated earlier, Cute Stuff is a huge kaiju fan, so I asked for her thoughts on the series. She told me that it's an interesting retelling of the Godzilla story, but it feels more like an anime than a kaiju film. She feels that Godzilla and the rest of the kaijus could have been replaced by aliens and it wouldn't have changed the story too much. That would have been fine, but I doubt I could have gotten her to watch it if it weren't for Godzilla. And of course, Waffles asked for my thoughts as well as Cute Stuff's thoughts. I thought the anime was fun and worth watching, even as a non-kaiju fan. Again, I have nothing against kaiju films, I just don't care about them one way or the other. I know that some people adore them. If you are a kaiju fan, I'm sure you'll like this series. If not, it's not a bad anime, and you'll probably enjoy it regardless. Now, one more thing before we wrap this video up. I couldn't help but be struck by the similarities between Godzilla Singular Point and the works of H.P. Lovecraft, creator of the Cthulhu mythos. In most kaiju films, a mystery is shown. Something happened and no one can figure out what's going on. A footprint too large to exist. An egg washes ashore. Music playing from no known source. Something weird is happening. As time goes on, some of the questions are answered, but even more pop up. Eventually, the audience as well as the main characters realize what is happening, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. Cthulhu has risen from the deep to destroy mankind. Or Godzilla has returned to defeat the other kaiju. Either way, both the kaiju genre and the works of H.P. Lovecraft follow that similar pattern. The difference is, as I stated earlier, kaiju films have a sense of hope, but where Cthulhu is concerned, all hope turns to madness. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. There are several tiers to choose from. You can pick an anime or manga for me to do a video about, or you can join our monthly manga club. I also want to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Squishy, Brett, Ignis, Roxy, Josh, Sean, Pob Zombie, Mark, Alix, Daniel, Steve, Kevin, Alex, Cookie, Nick, Borgie, Jake, and Exiled Rogue. You guys are awesome. I post new anime or manga videos often, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Now, if you're looking for Commander content, I split my channel last year, so all new Commander videos are over on my other channel, Commander by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Musings by Danon.